Morning. Sorry about that. Back at the canopy. Now, today I'm going to have a look at putting the slide-out kitchen drawer in here and our pantry on top. Now, one of the missions that I've had to try and find is these slots in here are not standard sizing. So the Rhino rack, Akuma rack system doesn't seem to work. I went up to Roof Rack Galore and tried all the ones they had. None of it works. So I've got some on the way and I'm modifying others to try and make them fit. It appears to be I need about 35 to 30 to 30 mil high and 20 mil maximum width with 4 mil height in the bottom, so like a square. So 20 mil by 4 mil by 30 mil seems to be the ultimate. That's what I seem to have found online. I'll see if they work. If not, I have to cut them back and do what I've got to do. And aluminium, so don't get any of that corrosive response between metals, aluminium, stainless, things like that. It'll start to eat itself away. We don't want that. And so I'm going to try and install this thing with what I have. So let's roll on. Let's have a go. As far as it goes, this is what we've got. I've had to modify this too because it doesn't come with the right parts. And I've tried again. I've contacted the company. I've had no response. So I'm a little bit edgy about this, but anyway, I'm going to do what I do and just roll on through it and smile and be happy because I love the canopy regardless. Now, this is our kitchen top. All these things come separate and they don't sit on top. I've got to take this off and take the case off so that I can put... oh, 1 second, that's really loud. Give me 1 second, I'll shut that down. Done. So basically I'll take this off so I can open the drawer and get to the area at the bottom where you bolt it all together. So I'm going to get that set up. It's just simple, pretty simple sort of system. Cupboards. Down here is a table base with a thing on it. That'd be cool. So to get that done, and the other one is obviously a little micro pantry, which does the same thing, pulls out. You know, some of the stuff's gimmicky, but we're going to try. If it doesn't work, get rid of it. Super heavy, but we'll give it a go. It's all aluminium regardless. So I'm going to give it a go. So that's what I'm up to today. Roll on through. Bloody dogs. Every day. Every day. Oh, shut up. Get back. Bloody dogs, all they do is bark. Pain in the ass. Which is a good thing though, if you're getting intruders or whatever, dogs are good. And barking dogs are even better if you've got intruders, but we don't have intruders, we've got people walking past. So that's not such an ideal situation for barking dogs. Alright, so all of this has got to come apart. Now I've had to modify these aluminium bands, if you want to call them that. I've had to modify these. As you can see, I've got to grind that one down so it's smooth, because when you put these all together on here, I've got to have my pantry going along here and I can't have steel below it, because basically what happens is it sits too high and hits the roof of the canopy by about 3 mil. So I've had to modify it to make it work. Again, I contacted Autospec, the sales lady there, and I've had a conversation around it and I can't seem to get any response or any way of solving the problem. So this is my way of solving the problem. Hack it up. Let's just hack it up and make it work the way I see it to work. Yes, it avoids warranty probably. Oh, it's spitting everywhere. Yes, it avoids warranty probably, but the reality is it's a bit of aluminium. I don't care about a little bit of aluminium under warranty, especially if it's just a kitchen bit of aluminium. So I've hacked it up. I'll make it smooth, give it a bit of spray, which I've done, and it should work pretty happily. Only one way to find out though, right? And that's what I'm about to do. So I'll take this apart, get the lid off, drop it in, and I'll show you in the car. So obviously the top's off it like I said I had to. Let's just open this up. There you go. And I've got bolt, 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 bolt. Not completely bolted yet because of obvious reasons. But that's it here. Let's have a look at it. This is the device. So this is the first part of our fit out. Here is the shelf, which has an area to put either an induction cooktop or a sink. Then you've got the next phase, which is a big drawer which comes out. So you've got a pretty big kitchen kind of area. It's pretty neat. It's pretty solid. It's going to not move too far. I've still got a bolt down that one in the back there, so I would have liked to have had a bit more bolts, but there's not enough space. This is the first bolt part, and that's the next. Sorry, that's the next. The very back doesn't have room, so it would have been nice to have this a fraction longer, where I could have had 3 bolts down, but I guess when you've got stuff in it, it's not going to have a problem anyway. Close it down, push that in, close it in, push that in. Sweet as a nut. Looking good. So there's a nut there, I'm missing one. I've got to put one on there, and we are ready to roll. I've made it really close down here, so to maximise, see that's like a bee's dick. I keep it really tight to try and maximise the size, and once I put the cover onto it, it'll all be very different. Our little pantry goes on here. Our 65 litre fridge goes on there, and every single time I go to record, some bastard comes outside with I'm not going to swear, with the tool. So anyway, I'll leave you to it, have fun, I'll come back. So I've thrown the fridge slide in, not the fridge slide, the fridge surround. So that's pretty much going to go in. I wanted black, I know, black would look better, but for $100 more I'm not willing to spend the money on a black one, just not. So we have our kitchen area, our fridge area. I need to drill a couple more holes in the back, mark those out and drill them, which is fine. Get those done. And then this is where my battery unit's going to be. So where I'm going to make up either my backboard or get the one that's got an angle with all the buttons and shit on it. So I'll work that out as I go along. And up here will be our pantry slide. Boom. Going to be good, I think. Maybe, possibly. We'll find out. Keep on rolling on. Good morning. A new day starts on the canopy internals. I've made an executive call. I want you to have a look at it and see what you think. As you would have noticed the other day, I had leakage coming in from, and still do a few drops here, coming in from the piano hinge. One of the thoughts I had is right here, you've got the door edge, which is on a horizontal plane because of the height of the door. If I bring that horizontal plane down a little bit, it actually brings that hinge inside of the rubber, or almost inside of the rubber. Now I'm not 17 feet tall, and my wife isn't either, so I don't really need it that high. And if we do get a canopy on the roof or anything like that too, like a 270 awning or whatever, it has to be lower anyway. And I've got all these adjustments on here. So I'm thinking about bringing it down 2 inches, so next time we get some rain, which is likely today, we're getting rain events all over the place, I'm going to bring it down and see if that makes any difference to this sort of horizontal plane there. I think it will. That's on a 45 and it runs straight down here with it down a bit. Boom. It should sit within the rubbers. That might make a big difference. Plus the rubber kit I've got coming, which is a bit wider, will also catch the rest of it. So I think I've solved that issue. Boom. Let's give it a go. So I'll bring these things down. I'll drop these down lower and go from there. Happy days. That's a good thing. Right, next thing we're doing today is we're going to continue this installation of the front of the canopy, or side of the canopy. We have got in, I bolted this down yesterday, a couple of bolts there, which I showed you already. So I've got a little table, got the drawer, and I bolted down the fridge. So it's the Bushman 65, done all of that, so that's all good, that's all nice and flash. That's all done, got that bolted down under there in 4 spots, which is working well. And now I'm going to be setting up here, I'm going to be putting out a little pantry up there. So these little bolts, that means it's going to sit on an angle. So I have to put some packers in here to try and help that not do that. So I'll get that done and we shall kick that off. Alright, and we're back again. So I haven't installed this yet, but I have put some packers here. I had to cut this down and modify it at the front here. I didn't want to just cut it and have it half cocked. The company couldn't provide me the size I needed to make this work. And when I first tested it, having this piece left on meant that this couldn't open. So I've tried it now actually in situ and it works fine. So I put this packer on here to make this all level, because these nuts here would have sent everything sitting on an angle. So this now is going to be flat, and I've done one at the back too. I've just silicon them down. They'll just stay there like big washers, you won't see them anyway, they're underneath the unit. And then I'll be able to bolt this down. So I let that dry for a bit, I've got a fan on. Let that dry for a bit, give it an hour, have a coffee, and then I'll come out, be able to sit it on top, and I'll show you from there. Alright, so I've got a bigger fan, hopefully you can hear me alright. So I've sat that there on top of those packers, which I put in there, but currently it's still a little bit on the piss. That's because this bend. I'm going to do something about that. I think I need to put a stabilizer in there, which I will work out. That's a different problem again. Seems to be lots of different problems I've got to work through, but anyway, it is what it is. Fix that up. That's going to sit up there, and that's going to hold nice and straight there, I think. This is on. This has got to be bolted down so nothing falls off the side when you put things on it. And I've got one for the back as well, which I'll put on there. So I'll get that done. And work my way through this process. I think it's looking alright. That one there sticking out a little bit far, which is, I screwed that up, didn't I? That should have been pushed in a bit further. But I can't do much about it now. I might see if I can move it. Let's have a go. I'll turn the fan off a minute so you can actually hear. Oh yeah, I see what I've done there. I've made a bit of a boo-boo there, which is not unusual for me, but oh, look at that, like a boss. Sorted, fixed. See, no problem at all. Was never there. We like it when problems are fixed easily. Let's get to bolting these things down. Now I'm in the comfy position. Super comfy. You get this all screwed down. So when you put things on here, it all doesn't fall down the back. You see it right here. Whoop, there you go. Clamp these down. Just a bit of protection so shit doesn't go tumbling down the back and cause me too much problems. Oh, that was loud. Confined space attack. Right, I won't bore you with the whole thing like I normally say, but I will record it, and I'll fast forward it so it looks cool. There's some fast forward music style thing going on. There we go, like a boss. Here we go. Let's fast forward it. Ready, set, now! Again. Now, we've got it all bolted down. So this is all bolted down, all the edges. When you put things up on here, it doesn't go flying off the side, which is handy. And all bolted down nice and pretty. I'll wait for this to dry a little bit more so I don't move it along too much, just putting pressure on the silicone at the moment. And then I shall bolt this down too, which is going to be fun because I have to open up this and get in from under there, which is going to be awesome. So I've got to do that. I'll work that through, it won't be a problem. Then I'm going to get my little battery box, which I've got, which is my kick-ass battery box. I'm going to test the fridge works. So I'll plug it in, see if it all works. Hopefully it does. It should do. It will. Let's be positive. Get that done, and then this will be complete on this particular part of the build. The next is a 12 volt setup and lights and other things, but this is the fit out for this part, so we'll roll on from there. So I'll get this done. Let's have another look. Alright, so I've now dropped the nuts into the kitchen area. So there's a little space just under there. We've got 4 little nuts, 2 at the back, 2 at the front. Nightmare to get into. Not a lot of joy, so I'm going to tighten those up, and that should be done. So let's get that done, eh? So I've gone ahead and put it all together. I'll turn this down, as always. I've gone ahead and put it all together, and I've realised, I thought about it, and there's a little bow in the front of the kitchen area. I'll show you, actually make more sense. There's a little bow, right, and I don't like it. Just here, this little bow right there with the weight of this on it. Yeah, there's a little bow. Now, I had to modify all of these rails because I never heard back from Autospec about whether they have the right rails or not, or what I'm supposed to do with it. So I modified it myself, but what I did was I cut it short, which meant that this was a pressure point, and when this was going on, it was bowing like that. So what I've done is I've got one spare rail left, because obviously this side doesn't need one. I'm going to modify that rail to come right across, stop there, but the steel base line will go straight underneath here, and that should then be able to support the whole lot. That should bring that up nice and straight and make me happy. I really don't like that bow. I think that's just going to get worse as you put more stuff on. It's just going to start to bow right down and just look shit, and probably is functionally shit as well. So we'll give it a go. So I've got my little stuff in here, and I'm going to, this is the original one which I had to play with. I know all the holes in the bottom, the holes didn't match up. This one here is going to become this. I put some markings on it. I'm going to try and mark it so that these gaps here, that little marking is going to be the same. It's going to have a nice gap there and a nice gap there to try and match as I did on that one. And then I'll 45 it and re-drill the holes for the bolts to go down. But I'll leave this baseline part here intact, so that'll give it the support. I'll put a couple more holes in there. That'll give it the support, hopefully, structural support to keep it level. So let's get into that. Alright, so as a visual, you can see what I've done here. This is the original. So that's sat like that facing forward, right, with a 45. I've now made this one. Right, I know it looks a bit manky at the moment, but it won't do. With the 45 there, which is the same. I've got to put these holes, so I'm going to match those up to get the holes in the right spot, which I'll do, which is fine. But these parts here, that bit there will sit underneath the fridge, and that will give it support, lateral support that way, because it's a lot more solid. So I won't get that bow. That's the plan anyway. So we'll get these holes drilled and see how we go. Now, hello. Lining up holes can be a bastard. So what I do generally is try and make my life real easy. I've put circles around the existing holes that I'm going to be using. I know this is a bit shit. It's a recycled piece. There's 6 holes, and I put circles around that I'm going to be using. So what I like to do is just get myself a piece of tape and a pencil, which I have to find. Give me 1 second, I'll find my pencil. So I found my pencil, and what I'll do is I'll lie this down here somewhere, and I like to stretch it out, like so, to the 45. You go right to the edge, so I get as close as I possibly can, get it right. And then pushed it down yet, so we had to go okay. So that hole, I know there's 1,000 ways to do this, probably better than what I'm doing, but anyway. That hole and that hole. Where can I see the others? There, those two just there. That hole and that hole. Now that's the square edge. Now if I lay that square edge with this marker right here on the 45, that in theory should give me the exact location for me to drill my holes, in theory. I know it's a little bit rough and ready, but I think that's a pretty good effort, right? That'll give me my location to drill my holes. So I'll drill some holes there and I'll test my theory, see if it actually worked, eh? Let's give it a go. I'm sure there's a more technical way of doing this, but I'm not a very technical person. And the reality is, if I have to put washers on these, I will, if they're not exactly right. Alright, I've made up this as a finished product here. I know it looks a bit goofy, but I've had to cut and move and grind and shit. The holes are there, they fit right. Well, mostly right. I'll check that in a minute. I think they're right. I set them on the top head along. Not worried about the underside with paint and shit. I'll put that through the linisher and give it a linisher up. I had to cut out the back piece because the bolts actually holding down the what's it called? My brain is gone. That thing there. The bolts holding down that under there got in the way when I tried to slip that in, so I had to cut that back a bit to make it fit. But that will be fine. I'm gonna let that dry in the sun, have a coffee, and then stick that in and see how it looks. I think it's coming together pretty well. Shouldn't have to modify this stuff, but guess what? Sadly, you do. It's just the way it is. But you roll with the punches, eh? Let's get it done, move on. Happy day. Right, so I got 5 out of the 6 screws correct. The other one, no, when I drilled it wrong. You can see it here. There you go. I'll turn that light off. 1 second. See there? Got 2 there, 2 there, 1 there. So it all works. All a bit dirty now. I've got to give it all a bit of a clean up. It's all covered in shit and stuff to make it work. So now that's down, that looks better. This is more stable. So I need to bolt this down now. It's just sitting in there, so I'll bolt that down. That's down. That looks good. It's solid. It's not bending as much anymore. That's nice and straight, or mostly straight. It's not all bowed down like it was, so that's pretty good. Try to tidy it up the best I could. Seems to work. Now I'll bolt this down and voila, we will be done. So let's get that done. Alright, here we go. We are finished with this part of the install. So the fridge is in, here we go. Boom, fridge is in. Bottom shelf's on. Drawers in. Our less than fancy but tidy enough looking rail that we built, solid as, now it's level, which is good. And our pantry is in, so that's all good. Everything's done. Everything's done, nice and simple, ready to go. It's given a bit of a blowout, so it's all nice and clean. Everything is sorted. Happy days. So now that's done. The next phase is going to be the 12 volt system, so that's going to come along very shortly. I'll start working out what I'm going to do there, if I'm going to build it, which I think I am. So as far as it goes, that's where we're at. So if you want to follow on the next part of the journey, feel free to like, subscribe and comment. Feel free to comment, really do please. This is my first time doing this, so if you've done it before, let me know where I won't use that word. Yeah, well, where I fucked it up. It's very important. I need to know this stuff. Other than that, man, boys and girls, thank you very much. Stay classy and see you on the next one. Ciao.